Welcome to the Podium Proof F1 podcast. My name is Frank Alessi.
I'm David Alessi.
All right, welcome into part 2 of the 2023 season preview. We left off after last week on who did we leave off on? Alfa Romeo.
Alfa Romeo.
I think we got halfway through 5 and 5.
Yep.
So we'll jump into there here shortly. As usual, a little bit of general housekeeping I'll let David get into, and a few little topics that have happened in the last week that we kind of gotta, I guess, just address or maybe snowball on. Who knows?
Yeah.
First things first.
Thanks for being here.
Let's get us a little pour.
Yeah. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us. If you're catching this on YouTube, do us a favor, hit that like and subscribe. If you are on the podcast, there is a link if you want to. There will be a link for the YouTube video in the description. Give us a follow and a good old 5-star rating, depending on what podcast platform you're listening on. We would greatly appreciate that. And as usual as well, there will be a link in both the YouTube video and podcast for our link tree. That'll take you to social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, as well as our website. And give us a like and follow there. Shoot us a DM. Let us know what you think. Got any ideas? Anything really? Happy to hear about it. Happy to talk about it. And other than that, let's get into a little bit of whiskey, and then we'll get into part 2 of the season preview and go through the rest of these teams. And we've also got, we'll get into before that, we've got a few of the rule changes that are being put into effect for 23. We're going to dive into those a little bit and go through some of them. I'm sure there's probably more, but the ones that really matter to anybody, the ones that we understand, are about 10 of them, I think it is. We may or may not go through all of them, probably just the major ones. I'm sure there's plenty more that are much more technical and mean nothing to the majority of us, but we'll run through some of these. Some of them are pretty significant and kind of interesting. So first up, what you sipping on?
I went back to old trusty Rusty over here. My Old Soul High Rye Bourbon Society of Baton Rouge barrel pick. It is incredible. If I've ever gotten chocolate out of a bourbon before, it's this one. It's just, when you dream about making bourbons, this is what I dream about.
It has a good chocolate note in it.
What?
Woodford wheat.
I'll never find it past whatever funk crap note they have in it. That's all I get. So this is a barrel pick from 2020. It's bottle number 4 out of 174. So that's kind of cool.
That's the Lando bottle.
Yeah, sure. But no, it's fantastic. If anybody sees an Old Soul store pick in your area, which they're pretty common. I've seen them in most places I've been, different states and all. If anybody sees one, man, I would not hesitate to buy it, and they're usually pretty affordable as well.
Yeah,
usually looking at about $40-$50 at the most.
Yeah, I can vouch for that. I don't have quite the availability to them up here, but
You won, didn't I?
I've been fortunate enough to taste some
Trade it.
and huh?
I think we made a little trade, huh?
Yeah, we did. We
Yeah.
did. Yep. I think I've been able to try most of yours, and then yeah, we did a little horse trading in Tennessee with
Did I give you the
yeah.
Hocus one?
I have you know what? No, this was a full bottle. This wasn't a half bottle we did.
Yeah,
'Cause
no,
I've been into this one a good bit.
I knew that one was full.
There was something else we did. We both had like half a bottle of.
That was the Penelope that I traded you, and you gave me the Lagavulin.
Oh yeah, for this. Yep. No,
Yeah.
that was for this.
Oh, and then whatever, it was the Bardstown.
Yeah. That's what it was.
Is that
I don't.
Hocus?
I don't know if the. Oh wait, here we go.
Look on
Yeah,
the
this is
bottom.
Hocus. Yep.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a good one. You got a good one.
Yeah, it is good. Very good. Yeah, this one's the high rye.
Mm-hmm. I think they're all 109 proof until if you get them.
This one's. Oh wait, hang on. Barrel entry proof. What is? Yeah, 109 proof.
Yeah. They have some now that they're releasing that are store picks that I might be purchasing this week. I don't know. They got a black label on them or dark blue that are barrel proof.
Oh,
that I think I'm gonna go pick me one up.
Yeah, I think you might need that one.
I feel like it'd be irresponsible of me not to, as much as I love their other stuff.
Right.
As long as that same high rye mash bill, I'm for it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Which, I mean, let's let the secret out. It's freaking MGP. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, what you got over there?
All right, I am gonna stick with what I've been doing thus far for the first couple we've done of this season.
A crack?
And do another bottle crack.
Ooh.
I've been waiting on this one. This is the Heaven's Door store pick from our favorite Hocus Pocus.
Oh, I forgot you bought that one when you were down.
So this is the Heaven's Door, the Ghost. Comes in at 123.4 proof. Bottle number 136. And it doesn't really give me much else. All right, here we go. Let's see. Mash bill, 80% raw, 80% corn, 10% rye, 10% barley. Medium plus toast, number 4 char on the barrel. Rick level B, warehouse W6. Because that means a lot to the rest of us.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, let's see. See what kind of cork pop we get. Wasn't great.
No.
Wasn't great. So this is actually the first time I've had anything Heaven's Door. So I feel like I'm doing pretty good by the first one of theirs that I'm having is a Hocus store pick.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. Let's jump into some of these rule changes.
Yeah.
And I'm going to let you go ahead and take the lead on this. And you know which one I don't have much discrepancy with a lot of these. Except, if you want to just kind of roll through them and I'll jump in where I have issues.
All right. So, number 1, we've got ride height and diffusers adjusted, is what it says. So floor edges have been raised by 15 millimeters. The diffuser throat height has been raised. The diffuser edge stiffness has been increased. And an additional sensor has been mandated to more effectively monitor the porpoising phenomenon. I think we all kind of expected that. That's nothing too crazy.
I can't say I like it. I don't think they should be making rules in lieu of engineering their way out of these problems, because clearly there's a way to do it because Red Bull did it.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
clearly some teams figured out how to.
I have a problem with that. I don't like it. I don't like them messing with that. If it was a problem that could not be solved engineering wise, mathematically, it was just a phenomenon that was going to happen with however these regulations were constructed, then okay, like let's make a change. But with them, with teams proving that it can be managed and have negligible porpoising effects, like, I'm sorry, teams, you got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Period.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and that's
or are you just going to be slow until then? Like,
yeah. Well, and I mean, to me, man, that's exactly what F1 is about, right?
Right. Exactly.
The friggin' best engineers in the world. So some teams figured it out, some teams didn't. But the ones that were complaining and raising hell are the ones that couldn't, without raising their car and sacrificing some speed, which they didn't want to do. Well, that's not everybody else's problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I do agree with you. I'm, however, not surprised that they did it, within the rules. So let's see what else we got. Stronger roll hoops. Obviously, after Joe's crash, they tweaked some of the standards for the roll hoops. I don't have, not here in front of me at the moment, I don't have any kind of numbers as to what the actual numbers are for, the amount of force that it's supposed to take and absorb compared to what it was and what it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Just that the load that it has to take has been increased.
That's what she
said. And then, so a reduction in minimum car weight. Let's see. Reduction of 2 kilograms. Really? That's it.
I mean, dude, like,
I get it. These guys care about a quarter of a kilogram worth of weight on the car, but man, 2 kilograms, that's it.
Yeah. I mean, why even change it, right?
Yeah.
What's that worth? A tenth?
If
that.
Yeah.
I mean, which obviously now that they changed it, like, it matters to the teams, but because you all have to have it now. You, like, it's there. You need that 10th.
Right.
So
all that did was increase spending for.
But Jesus Christ, man!
2 kilograms.
Like, we're at the point where every team's gonna be running a blacked out car.
Yeah.
If they drop, in another year, if they drop in another 3 kilograms, liveries are done.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's your 2 kilograms worth of paint right there.
Yeah, I mean, these cars have gotten so big and so heavy. I kind of would like to see them revert back to like 2014-ish when they introduced the hybrid engines, but still had the smaller cars.
Yeah. Dude, there was a
I'd
there
like
was,
to see. I'd like to see us start to trend back that way,
yeah, there was a
and I
picture I
doubt they
saw the
will
other
because
day.
of the safety that the bigger cars bring.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. There was a picture I saw the other day, and it had the 2009 Ferrari
Hmm.
on track next to the 2017, I believe it was. And holy shit, dude, just seeing them side by side like that, it's crazy.
That's crazy. And these cars are even bigger.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That was kind of
Remember what
wild.
was it? Was it at Coda? What they had like
They had like the F1 just demo car
yeah,
out
but
there.
remember Ferrari had one
Hmm.
had like a 17
Yeah.
no, or was it like a 17 model
Something somewhere around there.
with
Yeah.
this year's livery on it.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I mean, it looked small compared to the demo
Yeah.
car for this one.
Yeah. I mean, dude, that F1 demo car was just freaking monstrous.
Yeah.
It was insane. All right, what we got up next? Revised mirrors. So they have increased the reflective surface from 150 millimeters to 200 millimeters.
Bro, I saw some pictures of up close of that. It looks so goofy. It looks so dumb. I mean, like, I never noticed it until somebody said it.
Uh
But
huh.
once they said it and I saw it, I was like, bro, this freaking mirror is a giant. It's like the mirror I got on
Yeah.
my truck. Which, I mean, it is what it is. That's
Yeah.
not a bad thing that these guys need to see more.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's
Especially,
kind of
like we said, with how big these cars are.
yeah. I mean, the car gets bigger, the blind spots get bigger too.
Right.
And it's not like they've got a spotter in their ear, you know, in the infield watching them all around the oval, you know.
Right.
Let's see what's next. What's next? So we're doubling the number of sprint events from 3 to 6.
Stupid.
So we've got
I love the look, don't get me wrong. I love the sprint. However, how is it that we introduce sprint races and now we're doubling and tripling the sprint races? Yet we want to have a cost cap and we want to save money and we don't want to spend money.
yeah. So they are, which I'll get to that here in a second. But here's the ones that are getting a sprint. We've got Baku,
We get it this year.
Red Bull Ring, Spa, Qatar, Coda, and Interlagos. So Azerbaijan, Austria, Belgium, Qatar, US, Brazil.
Can't wait
Yes.
to watch that. Like I said, I love the actual sprint idea.
Yeah.
However,
So they changed the sprint accident damage allowance will now be a fixed amount per team for each race weekend that includes a sprint session. The forfeit allowance amount for each sprint will double to 300,000 from 23 onwards, while all other sprint damage allowances will be removed. Let's see, what does this say? Alongside this, Parc Fermé rules on sprint weekends are under review for 23 with the aim of simplifying the setup locking process after the FIA cited, quote, significant increase in Parc Fermé requests between Friday's qualifying session and Saturday's sprint. So,
well, yeah. I mean, you have a practice session before you qualify to go race.
mm-hmm.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
Like, why don't we have FP1, FP2, qualifying, sprint, race?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like, I get knocking out FP3. That's fine. But have 2 practice sessions, then you qualify, then you race, then you race.
Yeah. That would only make sense. Hence the reason
Seems
why
like it.
it's not being done.
Right.
So yeah, be on the lookout for
I just think
a coming change on that end.
the whole thing is just counterintuitive, man. It contradicts everything that they say they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because these sprint races are costly.
Oh, yeah.
So, you're saying you want the teams to spend less money and we want to, do all this shit with allocating tires, and that's how we're gonna save the freaking world and lower our carbon footprint. They're not gonna have the amount of tires that they really need to go through a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Cut the crap, man. How about this? If you're really worried about that, quit having to fly from freaking Las Vegas to Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, no kidding.
Or, have Canada, Silverstone, back to United States, back to just across the freaking world. Group that shit on the continents, man.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to stay explicitly there, but
let's stay on one side of the ocean at a time.
Dude, I know, man. Let's cluster it together.
All right, we got paddock working hours cut. The number of hours worked by F1 team members across race weekends will be reduced in upcoming seasons, with the third of 3 restricted periods effective on Fridays beginning an hour earlier this year and another hour set to be knocked off in 24. To be honest with you, I never knew there was necessarily a number of hours worked, like a maximum, nor did I know what it is.
It's dumb.
I mean, hell,
because
how many times has a driver wrecked, in practice?
That's why it's such a big issue now.
And
when
the mechanics are up all night and they get the car ready 30 minutes before quali or something.
That's why it. You remember back in the day when that would happen, they'd build a whole new freaking car.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
it was never a question if they made it, if they were going to be ready for the next session.
Now,
all of a sudden, you're like, somebody has a big crash. You're like, oh man.
Yeah.
Although, because there's no spare car either anymore.
Yeah, but when that used to be the case, when these guys would be up all night rebuilding a whole new car, and it was never a question of if. It was also a smaller car and a much less complex car to deal with.
Sure. Somebody blew an engine.
30 minutes, that thing was
in practice, at the beginning of practice, they might freaking make it out back before the end.
Right. That's not.
I mean, not really, because they're not going to get the car back that quick. But I mean, just it could happen if they had a problem with it and they pulled it in the garage and they could change the engine. They could throw it in and out. It's insane. But, I mean, obviously we've moved on from that with these hybrid units. I mean, they're insanely complex and those days are gone.
Yeah.
Hence the reason the Williams of the world are no longer competitive in F1. That goes hand in hand.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Yeah, so working hours will be cut. Sounds to me like the union's getting in the way of these guys' OT. Need to put their rep to work. These guys want that OT.
I know, right?
As if I'm sure they don't get enough. All right.
But dude, look, we go. I'm looking at the schedule. We go Bahrain, Saudi. That's cool. Australia. Okay, I get down with that. Australia is going to be out of the way no matter what. Baku. Okay, that works. Then we come to the U.S. for Miami. Then we go back to Italy for Imola. Then Monaco, then Spain. Cool. Then over to Canada. Then back to Austria. Why stick Canada right there? I mean, Miami's got gorgeous weather all year. You could literally run that freaking race no matter wherever you want. Pretty much from January to August, because you can't run it during football season. Yep. So Bro, like put Canada and Miami together.
Mm-hmm.
Put Canada and Austin together. Put Miami and Austin together. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
just like the first. That's just the beginning. Like it's.
Yeah, it's look, I'm sure there's
Look, the back we go
um,
Italy to Singapore to Japan to Qatar to Vegas to Austin to Mexico to Brazil back to Vegas to Abu Dhabi. Bro, like shit is just all over the place.
yeah. Yeah, and look, I'm sure there is some reasoning, right? I'd be very curious to see what that reasoning is for the way the schedule is played out.
They don't own a
Because-
globe.
Because I can't fathom any reason why it can't be done better. I'd be very interested to see like why it's scheduled the way it is.
So one reason I'm sure is because of the amount of freaking street circuits that there are.
Mm-hmm.
Which that's another reason for those things to kick rocks. Like we need Monaco. What street circuits do we need? We need Monaco.
Monaco, Australia.
Monaco stays. Australia stays.
Canada stays.
Yeah, that technically Canada's a street circuit, but I mean it's
not your new age street circuit, but it is 100% a street circuit.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's like Albert Park. It's like
right.
Australia, you know.
Except it's like a island.
Yeah.
That is not really inhibiting any traffic.
It's really not. No.
It's inhibiting some gamblers.
Yeah.
And maybe some hikers.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that stays. That's a cool track anyway.
Yeah. Monaco, Canada, Australia. Those can stay.
Done.
The rest of them, peace.
Vegas, get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Miami, and Vegas. Both y'all listen up. Y'all got nothing but land around y'all. Build a real track.
Yeah.
Especially you, Vegas. You're in the middle of a fucking desert. You got nothing but space.
Yeah, real estate is not the problem.
Go build a track.
Yeah.
We don't care if you run in front of the water cannons in the Bellagio. Like, build some water cannons that shoot over the track at your new circuit.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That race is going to be horrendous.
It's gonna suck.
Yeah.
There's probably gonna be a whole bunch of passes because it's just straightaways and like a couple little jogs here and there.
And therefore,
it's going to be a major DRS train.
A fantastic race. There was so much passing.
What a success.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Either that or it's just going to be like a constant DRS train.
Yeah. Nose to tail, the entire race, the whole grid.
So anyway, I got on my soapbox a little bit there.
All right. Well, I mean, while you're there, don't step down yet. You might actually want to get another soapbox, get you up a little bit higher for this one. Next rule change.
Oh.
Qualifying format and DRS trials. Now, give me a second. Let me read through it. Stand by. A revised qualifying format, what they are denoting as RQF, will take place at up to 2 events in 23, quote, for the purpose of evaluating whether the revisions are suitable for subsequent championships. So this will see, let's see, what do they say? This will see tire compounds mandated for each stage of F1's usual 3-part qualifying session. Hard tires only in Q1, medium tires only in Q2, and soft tires only in Q3. Intermediate and wets will be allowed if the RQF sessions are declared wet. At RQF events, each driver may use no more than 11 sets of dry weather tires, 4 sets of intermediate, 3 sets of wets. This compares to the normal weekend allowance of 13 dry, 4 intermediate, and 3 wets. So that is the format change. And then what they say as for DRS trials. As for DRS, its activation after the start, race restart, or safety car restart will also be evaluated, with the F1 Commission exploring the possibility of bringing this forward by 1 lap at the start of a race or sprint or safety car restart. This will be trialed during each sprint session in 23 with a view to introducing it for all races in 24, the FIA have stated. All right, begin.
Okay. First off, I want to jump on a DRS thing. I agree with it after 1 lap of a restart. I think that's correct. You're in the middle of a race. There's no reason for it. But at the start, I think it's fine the way it is. Because they made that rule where at a restart, you have to be line of stern. You can't, there's none of this jumbled up, like side by side, where you're getting all these clusters of cars. Everything's in a line. So once it restarts, obviously you're not like, I mean, you got 1 lap, you're good. But at the beginning of the race, I feel like the 2 laps is great because it really allows you to see the cars for what they are and the drivers for what they are. And you know, DRS changes races in a pretty significant way. So I feel like it's only fair to the guy in front to allow him those 2 laps to try and pull that 1 second gap. If he can't do it, he can't do it. But if he can, you want to see, I feel like I want to see that. I don't want I don't want to see an oval track race where you got 40 cars running nose to tail. Like, that don't interest me. You know, like, I want to see guys pulling away from other ones. If you're the best driver, I want to see you walk. If you got the best overall package, best car, best driver, whatever, I want to see you leave the other guy because you can. I don't want to see him stick with you just because, you know, his freaking rear wing opens up and yours doesn't. I can't stand it.
Yeah.
I don't like DRS to begin with, but I like that 2 lap buffer at the beginning of a race. I think it's necessary. I think you got to have it that way.
So I'm gonna go on that and loop something else in that. Whew, all right.
Also, quick before you start, quit trying to bunch the pack up. Let Formula One be Formula One. This is not IndyCar or NASCAR. God damn it!
All right. So now that your blood pressure got a little more elevated, I'll talk for a second, let it settle back out, because pretty sure I'm about to get it pumped right back up. So here's the other
fucking tire warmers all over again.
Here's the other issue I see with at the start bringing DRS in sooner. Cold tires. You knew where I was already going, or maybe you didn't, but you said it right there. Now, as it sits right now, you know, you come out the garage, you come off the grid, you do your formation lap, come out the tire warmers, you do your formation lap, put some heat in them, get going. Yeah, they're probably up to temp after one lap. Maybe not. Some of the cars that don't really get the tires working that quick, maybe not. And then you're just gonna throw DRS in. I think it's possibly a recipe for disaster. Maybe not right now, but fast forward to when they do away with tire warmers, I think that's going to be a huge problem. Now, as we have gone through before, I'm not I'm not going to say I'm in favor of them doing away with tire warmers. I just don't take as much of an issue with it. But in this instance, with the DRS, looking at, in the future, having no tire warmers, I think that's a problem. I think they need to give them as much time as they can to get the temp in the tires before they start allowing DRS.
I hate this discussion so much. I really do. It makes me sick. It makes me so angry because, like, obviously tire warmers are not this great innovative technology. Like, it's simple old technology. However, I feel like it is almost necessary to Formula One because I want these dudes on the freaking limit from the jump every single time, right out the box in the pit stop. Like, I want them on the limit. I don't care to see them. Oh, let's see who can bring their tires in faster. No, when he gets out the pits and crosses that white stripe, and there's another dude coming down the straight that he's racing, I want him confident going into that corner that he's got the tires there because I don't care who you are. If you're the greatest dude to walk the earth and getting heat in your tires, in that situation, when it really counts, you're not going to have a fighting chance. Period. So, it's ridiculous, man. Why are we doing this to these drivers? Why are we constantly coming up with rules that just make the racing less competitive? It's stupid. Why do we do it? Get rid of the DRS. Like, let them freaking race, man.
I very much agree with that statement. Get rid of the DRS.
Look, I get it. I get it.
Couldn't agree more there.
Listen, I get it. The last set of rules needed it because you could not run nose to tail with a car without it absolutely destroying your car. So it needed DRS. We don't need it anymore. These cars can run nose to tail.
And
get rid of it.
To be honest with you, I'm not seeing anything that makes me hopeful or hearing any rumors or, any stirring that they're even working towards getting rid of it like we had kind of hoped with these new regs.
No, because the problem is, like, even let's say if Ferrari, Red Bull, and Mercedes were like, look, dude, these regulations worked. These cars are back to being able to run like they're supposed to, nose to tail. We can fight, we can pass. The other teams aren't going to want to get rid of DRS because that's going to be their aid to the front or to closer, to further up. So, it's unfortunately, I think DRS is here to stay, as much as I absolutely hate to say that. But if I had to pick one or the other, leave DRS and give me tire warmers. Like, it's such a simple thing. And it's not like it's like we've been having them forever. We've been having tire warmers as long as I've been freaking alive.
Yep.
Like, why are we getting rid of them now? Dude. I had to go there, huh?
Well, I mean, it fit into the whole DRS change they're talking about making.
But it's I know, and it's so stupid.
That's why I went there.
Look, I mean,
I knew I was opening Pandora's box.
Bahrain last year, Lewis Hamilton. All right, we're not talking about a rookie or some kind of really unexperienced guy in F1. We're talking about Lewis freaking Hamilton. They put the hard tires on, and he comes out of the pit lane, and it is like he is on 4 blocks of ice.
Mm-hmm.
And he's in the midst of a battle. He's around cars. This is going to cause chaos. It's going to cause a shitload of wrecks, and it's going to be a safety concern going forward. Because you're going to have a guy on heated up tires coming flying down. You're going to have a guy on ice cold tires trying to get on power. And when he hits 5th gear, it's just going to freaking it's not going to grab. And all of a sudden we're in the same place, except this guy's got traction and this guy just spun it around going down a straight. It's going to be a shit show.
I don't think it's going to be that bad.
Oh, it will.
But
it will.
We'll see.
All they did was drop the temperature in them this year.
Yeah.
And look what happened to Lewis. It was a night race, which they're trying to have more of. So obviously it's going to take longer to get heat in the tires. And it was hard tires that went on. And look what happened. So good freaking luck, Formula One or FIA, whoever the hell is making these stupid decisions. I wish they had like a town hall for these kind of decisions.
Oh man, that'd be interesting.
I'd fly to Europe. I'd do it.
I think we should make that happen.
Anyway, you better move us along, bro. I'm
All right. Well, we're still on that particular rule change. The still on the tire topic. Mandated tires Q1, 2, and 3.
Again, that's right. Shit, we didn't even get to that part.
Yeah. That is utterly stupid.
That is ridiculous. What do you think? Okay, Red Bull is going to have less of an advantage against a Haas because they're both running hard tires?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see what the angle is.
I understand. Why? Okay, because here's what they think they're going to do. Okay, guess what? Now, in the race, you ready for this? The Haas is going to have an extra set of medium and soft tires over the Red Bull and the Ferrari and the Mercedes.
It's not going to matter.
No, it's not going to matter. And all we're doing is diminishing what these cars can do in qualifying.
Mm-hmm.
So dumb. Where's the town halls for this? Oh, and we're going to drop the amount of tires that you get from 13 to 11. Hey,
yeah,
we're green. We're saving the earth.
2 sets of tires at a time.
And we're fucking up qualifying all the while.
Yep.
Jesus. We hadn't even started what we came here to do yet, and I'm already pissed.
All right. Let me hit these last couple of rule changes, and then we'll get into that. Tweaks around gearbox changes.
For cost-saving reasons.
Yeah. While changes to teams' homologated gearboxes were only previously permitted, quote, to resolve reliability problems or for cost saving at the start of each season, modifications are now permitted in the case of materials, processes, or proprietary parts becoming unavailable. Nonetheless, clear documentation justifying the change must be provided in all cases. Prior approval must be obtained from the FIA, and the modification must not give any performance advantage. A summary of the modification will then be circulated to all the teams by the FIA. So, really, all they did there was add some gray area for somebody to figure out how to exploit. Next one.
Hey, you want to have you want to help the cost savings? Stop adding races. like 23 is a freaking enough. Look, don't get me wrong. As a fan, I'm all about like having races every freaking weekend, right? I would love to watch that. But like, I understand that that's an absurd thing. It's not like the NFL or college football where, you know, essentially you're traveling regionally or, you know, at least in the same country. I mean, we're talking about an international sport here. It's absurd that they're even floating around the idea of 30 races.
Yeah, dude, that's
That is
ridiculous.
ridiculous. Bro, these drivers and these teams can't handle that.
No. Mm-mm. I mean, you're trying to the amount of stuff, the whole production of a race weekend that you are floating all around the globe to do it for 30 races, to do it for 24 races is insane. I mean, dude, the things that these teams go through to make all this happen, you know, it's crazy. And then, yeah, I mean, and when you, especially when you add in the whole cost cap, you know, it's like, dude, this is getting ridiculous.
Not to mention 30 race. They're probably going to have 10 freaking sprint races.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm sure.
But anyway.
All right, last two. A move to clear up penalty confusion. Grid penalties came under the spotlight at last year's Italian Grand Prix, where a host of drivers took power unit and gearbox related drops and turned the order on its head. Following some confusion over how these were applied, the wording of the regulations has been updated. The relevant section now reads, quote, classified drivers who have accrued more than 15 cumulative grid position penalties or who have been penalized to start at the back of the grid will start behind any other classified driver. Their relative position will be determined in accordance with their qualifying classification.
Nobody cares about that. If you want to clear up penalty confusion, how about go to the in-race penalties and just give penalties for the same shit every week?
Yeah, let's.
When it happens week 1 and you give a penalty, and then it happens in week 3 and you don't give a penalty, that's a problem. That's how you clear up confusion. Do that.
Yeah. Clearing up confusion takes one word: consistency.
Amen.
Let's focus on that. All right, last one. More flexibility to cool fuel. So for 2023, fuel in a car must not be colder than the lowest of either 10 degrees Celsius below ambient temperature or 10 degrees Celsius at any time when the car is running after leaving the competitor's designated garage area. What is being lowered, so it's either 10 degrees below ambient or just flat 10 degrees. It used to be 10 degrees below ambient or 20 degrees. So they've lowered that part by 10 degrees.
That seems very cool for a running Formula One car, doesn't it?
I mean, 10 degrees is 50 Fahrenheit. Fuel temp.
I don't know. Like, I don't even know what my truck runs at, but I just kind of always figured it would be hotter than that.
Yeah. You know, I'm not really sure.
I mean, like, I figured here in South Louisiana, if, you know, it's 100 outside with not a cloud in the sky, I'm figuring that fuel was probably pretty warm in there inside all that metal.
Yeah, but also,
now, I mean, I guess carbon fiber maybe disperses heat better before it gets in there.
Yeah,
and all
but
that,
also the chemical properties of the gas and all the ethanol.
Yeah, sure.
It's going to stay cooler,
right? For sure,
naturally.
But like, I just never really thought about it. Just when I read that number, I was like, that's pretty cool.
Well, and I'm sure that 10 degrees, because you know they don't actually measure how many gallons. They go by weight.
Right.
And that's how they figure out how much fuel is in the car. So, you know, based on the density of uh of the fuel at a given temperature is how they calculate it. You know, cooler fuel is going to be more dense.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure that 10 degrees is probably a pretty big deal to them.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I just never thought about it like that. I mean, it was, you know, in my head, I always thought it would be hotter,
Yeah.
which I never even thought about it until I read that they were gonna have a rule change about it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
Yo, all right. So that's the
all
10
right,
rule changes. Let's get
couple
into
things. Ferrari, Mercedes, Alpine all launched their cars. Ferrari looks like a much more refined version of last year's car. It's like they just kind of streamlined every surface, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Well, Ferrari made a statement with their reveal though.
bro, they did it right.
Yeah. They came
How
out
about
swinging.
how about we're gonna take the car on track for our car launch,
Yeah.
and it's our actual car.
Yep.
But either way, man, look, Ferrari, the car just looks it looks like every surface has just been kind of refined, right? And smoothed out and a little more streamlined and sleek.
And they did some nifty Mercedes looking things with the front wing there.
They did.
Or
And
what Mercedes tried to do and didn't end up.
well, I mean, they look to be the only ones that really took advantage of the wording change in the rules.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You know, so everybody's freaking out, but it's completely legal what they did. I mean,
Oh, it is.
they
Well,
changed the rules
and
that it's no longer necessary for how do they put that?
I think it was something like the way the rules previously read was it had to be structural and could add
That
no
had to be the main
aerodynamic-
focus.
Yeah,
It had to
whereas-
be structurally integral.
Yeah, now
Do
it's
that.
like it can add an aerodynamic advantage, but that has to be the secondary.
No, now it doesn't matter. The way
Was it
they
that it
took
just
out,
doesn't matter at
yeah,
all?
like now they just took out like the whole structural integrity part, and essentially you can run slot gap separators for
I thought
whatever
they
purpose
just
they
kind
do.
of graded out a little bit to where, but I
Yeah.
mean, nonetheless, it's legal. And look, there's
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they took out the part where a structural where the main thing of it had to be structural. That no longer exists. So you can do them whatever you want, essentially.
And if I remember right, the Mercedes wing when they tried that when they brought it
Coda.
to Coda, it was never actually deemed as illegal, right? It was there was a lot of questions and eyebrows being raised, and they just
They
made
decided
the decision
not to pursue it.
Yeah, but it was never actually deemed illegal. So
Correct.
you
It
know,
was
we don't know whether or not it was.
Yeah, I believe that's the way it went down.
Yeah.
I'm a little gray on it because I've only read about it. I don't remember it at the time because we were kind of out of the loop.
Yeah.
Like we didn't even know about that until we got back,
Mm-hmm.
or until we might have read about it, but we didn't know about it in real time.
Right. Right.
Which I feel like they need to do a better job of in person.
Yeah,
At
dude,
the
that
races.
was so hard to even attempt to
Like you
to
see
keep up with
everything, but you're
stuff.
really out of the loop.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, yeah, they could definitely do a better job on that.
Even have like little kiosks around. I mean, the place is huge. Have like little kiosks, little tents set up where you could go in there and there's just like TVs with data on it. Like, hey, these penalties are happening. This is happening. This is happening. You know, like just like give us the information we want.
Yeah, or just like TVs or like a TV or something with like just call it a news feed of things like throughout the weekend, or
or have the international feed while it's playing on the TV. Give us the sound of the commentators.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
That's all you would need.
Yep. Yeah, because they're going to get into all that stuff. So
right.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad. All right. What'd you think, real quick? What'd you think about Mercedes and Alpine?
Mercedes, I love the anti-Red Bull defense mechanisms they have at the front of their floor. I think it's a brilliant move.
That was pretty interesting.
Whenever they inevitably come together, Red Bull's day will be done.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
there is no doubt.
They will be done.
Yes.
Honestly, if I'm a mechanic, I'm a little nervous about that. It's kind of like handling a stingray with a blindfold on. Like there's a high chance of impalement.
But
hey, if it's worth time, it's worth time. Put them on there.
Right.
I was waiting for the memes to come out of like the end of the Grease movie. Where your boy tears a hole in the side of John Travolta's car.
I
was waiting for the meme. I hadn't seen anything like it though.
I'm trying to find a good picture of it that I can put up here real quick. One that actually shows it. It's hard to freaking see anything when the car is all black and the carbon fiber pieces. You gotta
have a straight over the top view.
Yeah.
But they are they look dangerous. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Let's see. Nope, can't see it in that one. You can kind of see it here. Let's see. We'll go with this one and see if I can. Oh, wait, hang on. We might be onto something here.
Also, side note on Ferrari, them putting the Ferrari in the old school writing on that tail wing for like permanently is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Love it. Freaking love it. They did it for Monza last year. Freaking love it. The paint actually looks a little glossier this year. I don't know if you caught that or not, or if it was just.
I did.
Yeah.
I did, actually.
I'm digging it.
All right, here we go. Let's see. I don't know how well this is.
Also, Mercedes is back in black.
Yeah.
So
it is.
Everybody was all pumped up about it because, how good the Mercedes cars were when they were in black. And then I saw on this Red Bull page, it was actually really funny. Mercedes fans won't really enjoy it as much. But it had a picture of Max passing Lewis in Abu Dhabi in 21. And it was like, the caption was, the last time we had a black Mercedes.
See, trying to zoom in on this and get a better picture of it.
What are we doing here? It's a side view.
I know, but none of the other views you could really see any of it. The top, like you said, is the best, but
I'm gonna send it to you. Let's just move on, and you can.
Yeah,
I got it here somewhere on my phone.
Yeah, it's hard to tell from that side view, but all right. So, all right. Well, that's that.
Instagram thirst traps, bro. They just don't stop.
Yeah.
As soon as you open it, that's all that's there.
Yep. Then you saw Alpine's got their two different liveries as well that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's get into the rest of these teams. We've got Alfa Romeo, Aston Martin, Haas, AlphaTauri, and Williams to roll through.
Mm-hmm.
Start with Alfa Romeo.
All right. Alfa
Go ahead.
Romeo.
Take it away.
I think it's going to be a rough year for them, dude. I do not see them coming out strong. I think they had their moment of glory at the beginning of last year, and were just not able to develop it. I think they got it pretty right off the bat, and unfortunately, they had a rookie driver who I think has a lot of potential, but just wasn't ready yet to really take advantage of it. I think it's gonna be a rough year for Alfa Romeo, dude.
Yeah,
Now, granted, I think the Ferrari reliability issue will help them out some, because before Ferrari had to detune all their engines, they were clearly the most potent engine on the grid. But I don't know, man. Just their trajectory throughout the year just really kind of
it went in the wrong direction.
It to me, it seems like they got left behind by everybody.
Well, they did, and that's, you hit the nail on the head with the Ferrari engine. That's exactly where I was going to go. They're going to have that to their benefit this year. The reliability, whatever changes, the ability to now use the full potential of the engine and all the power that's capable of, and we might see the same thing out of Alfa Romeo as we did last year. We might see them come out of the gate strong, having the reliability of the engine, the extra power of it. We might see them put the car a little bit further up than maybe expected.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, I think we'll see the same thing where they slowly just kind of fall back throughout the year. Or I think we're going to see them just kind of come out and be pretty unimpressive and not necessarily get any better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have high hopes for them. I think with Andreas Seidel making his move over there, I think we will see the benefits. I think he can bring something new, something different. I think he can definitely add something to the team, but we're not going to see that yet.
That's not going to be till next year, if that occurs.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. I mean, if anything, it might actually kind of hurt him just going through not so much of a regime change, but for lack of a better term, a regime change. Right now we might almost see a bit of a setback. Just everybody trying to get their footing. Andreas trying to get his footing within the team. Everybody trying to feel him out. I don't really know. I don't have a good idea of what we're going to see out of them. I think it could go a couple different ways, but none of which I think are going to be what they are hoping for.
Mm-hmm. That was well put. I agree with that. I don't think I think it's going to be a rough year, man.
Yeah. And hell, I mean, I'd be happy to be proven wrong on that one, but it just doesn't look great.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Aston Martin.
All right. I actually got a lot to say on them.
Yeah. Give me your take.
I feel like they have some of the best trajectory in F1 right now. I think that they got a ton of things going in the right direction. I love the move bringing Alonso on. And I especially love the way, and I mean, we've discussed this already. I love the way that they capitalized on the Alonso situation,
Mm-hmm.
where nobody even thought it was a thing. But the second that they heard that there was a little rift there with Alpine, it was essentially as good as done after a phone call.
Yeah.
You know, and to me, that just shows the stability of an organization and the swiftness and the willingness to take action and make
Yeah.
decisions.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The
And that doesn't
decisiveness.
happen if a team is running like shit, like what we believe Alpine is. Aston Martin, I feel like, has the only thing they're missing from being a juggernaut in the next few years is a works engine deal.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the way F1 is right now, I don't know if you can really, like, are they going to be able to take on Mercedes using a Mercedes engine?
No.
You know, when you get to that final step where every little thing makes a difference and you have zero input because they're going to allow less input because you're their now competition. Like, so I feel like the last step for Aston Martin, I think we're going to see them take a huge step forward this year. I think they're going to be in the McLaren where McLaren and Alpine were last year. Week in and week out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would
I think,
not. It would not surprise me if they were best of the rest this year. And
I think
that the final step is going to be them securing a works engine deal for 26.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right about that with the engine. I mean, when it comes down to it, when you're a customer, you have to design your car around that engine.
Mm-hmm.
And your engineers that you have on staff, they may not agree with something the way that Mercedes engine was designed. Their design theory may not work well with that, but they have no choice. They have to work with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that can be a huge hindrance for them. So I think you're spot on with that.
That was something that, believe it or not, hindered Braun GP back in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
Their car was designed with a Honda motor in it and eventually had to put a Mercedes in it at the last minute.
Yeah, well, because Honda was doing Honda things.
Yeah, I mean, they did what Honda does and just pulled out at the last minute. But either way, like, the car was designed with a Honda engine in it and wound up running a Mercedes engine that they just had to modify. They didn't have time to redesign everything.
Mm-hmm.
They just had to make it work.
Yep.
And, so, I mean, think about that. You're talking about, I guarantee you that the things that they had to do and the things that they had to cut probably cost them a few tenths in lap time, I would imagine, just because it threw off the whole balance of the car. It threw off the center of gravity. The sacrifices that they had to make, that car could have been even better that year.
Yep.
That's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Red Bull would have never caught him.
No.
Because Red Bull caught him by the end of the year. Red Bull had a better car by the end of that season. But
take away those challenges at the beginning.
Right.
And
because they were, Braun came out the gate and blew everybody away.
Yep.
So like, that's the kind of difference that this could make and will make, Because make no mistake, if all of a sudden Aston Martin and Mercedes, if Aston Martin is all of a sudden on Mercedes level, those tenths, those decisions are going to make the difference.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude. Something that they were actually talking about on the Race podcast, which I think is absolutely 100% true with Aston Martin, was the fact that they were a small team and they are transitioning into being a large team, right? They are a factory team now. They're not one of the small guys. They have the goals and the aspirations to be world champions. When you're Racing Point, when you're these smaller teams, look, it's all fine and well to want to win, and I wouldn't want to employ anybody that doesn't want to put our car at the front of the grid, right? But deep down, that's generally just not going to happen, right? But when you're now a factory team, you have the resources, you have the facility, you have the people, you have the backing, you have the money, everything to be that front running team. It's just a matter of transitioning yourself out of being that small team and into the big factory team. And I think they've done a really good job of doing that. And I think it's just still ongoing, and I think over the next couple of years, we'll see that continue to get better. And hopefully, like we were talking about a minute ago, hopefully we see them secure some kind of, works deal, works engine. And I think that could be, obviously there's internal things that go along with this whole developing into a larger factory team that I don't know where they stand, how they're doing with that, if they need to improve. I don't have that insight. But from what we do see, I think they're well on their way to it. And there's just a few more pieces of the puzzle that they need to get put in place.
Let's do some speculating here.
All right.
Who could that work supplier be?
Ford.
Okay. No. They're already in partnership with Red Bull.
That's right. They did go with Red Bull. Yes.
So that's not
that's right. I
happen.
Forgot that.
It could be GM Cadillac if they don't allow Andretti to enter.
So, well,
I don't know where that's at.
Well, hang on, because I read something.
Like there's way more opposition.
Well, hang on. I read something the other day that talking about Andretti Cadillac and that possibility. And it was stated that they would, and I mean, mathematically with, the engines available and how many works team or how many customer teams the works teams already have, blah, blah, blah. They would have to run an Alpine engine. And the thought of, or the topic of Cadillac.
If they entered before 26.
Well, yeah. Even after, though, the topic was Cadillac really going to put the hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars into building their own F1 engines, or are they simply just partnering with Andretti for the chassis side of things, the automaker, development, not the engine development?
Yeah, but there's no way.
Are they going to come in and be a works team with a Cadillac engine, or are they going to come in as a customer engine?
Dude, there's no way. Like, I don't understand how Renault would allow that, because let's say Andretti nails it. and winds up being really good, or hell, even, I mean, like just for shits and giggles here, what if they win in their first couple years and Renault's not going to get that credit? You're gonna let another team put their name on your engine? I don't think so. There's no way.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't.
There's no way.
It wouldn't be putting their name on your engine. It would them being a Renault Alpine customer team running a Renault engine.
No, the whole partnership is Cadillac Andretti.
Right. Cadillac is not just an engine manufacturer. So the question is,
they are in this role. No. They are in this role. They are no more than an engine manufacturer in this environment. That is their only purpose. Andretti does not need them for the other side of it. That's not what this is about.
It's largely about money as well, sponsorship and whatnot.
Well, it's about political clout.
So I don't know that Cadillac is looking to be an engine supplier.
They have to be. That's their only purpose. That's their only value here.
No, it's not.
In being allowed in the F1.
Being the title sponsor, being the co-owner of the team.
Because Andretti's whole thing, the reason why they were getting shot down before is because being another customer team did not bring value to F1 for them to gain entry. That was the whole thing. In order for them to be allowed in, quote unquote, and to bring added value, they would have had to bring a works partner. That's why GM/Cadillac was the go. That's what brought the value, having another works team.
I haven't seen where that was confirmed that Cadillac was going to.
Well, nothing's confirmed because it's still a pipe dream. Well, it's just an application.
It is, but you still have to know. You still have to have decisions made. Like, okay, if they let us in, yep, we're going to be supplying the engine. You can't have that up in the air. Like, well, we'll see what they say and then we'll decide.
No, that's the deal.
I don't know. I mean, that's all.
Otherwise, they'll go find somebody. They would have found somebody else who would.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know what you don't know, but
I don't know that I agree with that.
That's what it's going to take in order to gain entry onto the grid. You have to bring value to the table. Another customer team does not add that. It doesn't. Bringing GM to the table as an engine supplier does.
I mean, I think the Andretti name does bring value.
No, not in a sense of what they're looking for in terms of payouts. Like it might bring a few more eyeballs.
It's going to bring more than a few.
I don't know.
You're talking about one of the biggest names in racing in the States.
I don't. Right, but does it bring enough to offset the dilution of an 11th team? I don't think so. I think you need that monster, that whale behind it.
Maybe.
Yeah. Moving on. We'll get into this down the road.
Yeah. All right. So yeah. That all spiraled from Aston Martin.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I think we're both on the same page that
with them.
We're expecting to see progression and good things from Aston Martin. I think they're gonna pick up where they left off with their trajectory and continue their climb upwards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Haas. Hit it.
I have no freaking clue.
That's why I passed the buck to you.
Dude,
I was hoping you
really
had something good because I don't.
I have no idea what, like, I have no clue. Supposedly, this is going to be the first year that they actually have the finances available to hit the cost cap. So, maybe that puts them. I feel like that's what screwed them last year is they really weren't able to develop throughout the season. They started off with a really good package, a strong midfield package. And, they unfortunately, by the time Mick really got the feel for the car and was outperforming K-Mag, they were no longer fighting for points because they weren't able to develop the car.
Yeah, they had already kind of fallen by the wayside a little bit there.
Right. So maybe this gets them back on the right track in terms of, the company that they're in, the Alfa Romeo, the Williams, AlphaTauris. Maybe this keeps them at the sharp end of that. And on the off chance weekend, maybe you get, you stick it up further at the front of the midfield with one of your guys.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like that's best case scenario.
Yeah,
this year.
I think if they are fighting for, and I know we talked about last year, there wasn't as much separation between the front pack, the mid pack, and the back pack. And then as the season progressed, you started to see that separation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this year for Haas is really any different. They're maybe, like you said, maybe there's a one-off where they're fighting in the mid-pack. I think they're fighting for that top of the backpack spot, which
they're going to be fighting.
That backpack is
8th through 12th.
Right.
On a good weekend.
And that backpack is generally anybody's weekend, right? Like there's not really anybody that's favored in that pack. It's just kind of they're all
you're scrapping for points.
If even that.
Well, yeah, I mean, like you gotta figure if you're not, Williams of last year, not even last year, Williams of year before, Haas of 2020, or whatever. No, 21.
Yeah.
Then, the back half is really kind of up in the air. Like, you're talking about not much time separating, 10th through last.
Well, I mean, I don't think you're even talking 10th through last. I think they're fighting like 12 onwards. I mean, if you think about it.
Yeah, but right.
Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes are taking top 6.
Right.
And then you've got, Alpine, McLaren, what we believe is going to be Aston Martin fighting next. That takes you to 12th.
Right.
I think Haas is fighting 15 through 20.
I think they're fighting 12 through back. But what my point is, when's the last race where everybody finished? So you always have that natural attrition of at least one or two cars that if you're at that 12, it brings you to the points. You know that 12 now becomes 10.
Yeah.
It's like I'm just talking in the real world.
Yeah,
That's how it works. So that 10 becomes 8, that 12 becomes 10. So it winds up mattering. It winds up being for points, even though
it could.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're consistently there, eventually it pays off.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you may be 11th or 12th this week. You may be dead last next week, and it may be a difference of, a couple tenths.
Yeah.
And this car is marginally better than you at this track, and you're marginally better than them at that track. And that's all it takes to flip-flop 6 positions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it's possible. In that backpack, it's really week to week. It's anybody's game.
And I think you see in the back, I think you see a lot more track dependence with these cars, with these teams, where you'll see a lot sharper peaks and valleys.
Yeah, no doubt.
I do think the driver pairing will yield them more points. I think Hulkenberg is a little safer pair of hands. Granted, he hadn't been in F1 in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's driven here and there, but I also feel like his ceiling is pretty well established. I mean, look, the hard facts with him is, if the pressure gets put on in a race and you've got a shot at a podium, he's going to fuck it up. So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
I think K-Mag is a stud. I like him. I think he's going to come through for you and get maybe even a little more out of what the car has.
Yeah, dude, I would love to see K-Mag in a more capable car.
He may throw it. Be able to see dude, I think he's got the talent to do phenomenal, to hang with anybody, but he's just he's wild, man.
Yeah, he is.
He's never really reined that in. He's known to get, like, when he scraps, bro.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's kind of like Tyson. Like, he's going to knock you out, or if not, he's going to bite your ear off and get a DQ.
Yeah.
If it's not going his way, like, y'all might just be going into the wall.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's intentional like that, but he doesn't quit. He doesn't have that quit. He doesn't know. That's a maybe the wrong way to put it, but it's like he doesn't know when enough's enough, when to stop.
Yeah.
And it'll wind up getting him into trouble and catching him out.
Right. Yeah. So, nothing.
Gunther's going to have his hands full this year.
Oh, yeah. Tell you what, I was going to bring it up and just talk about it for a minute after we were all done with going through the teams, but I'll just bring it up now. So season 5 of Drive to Survive comes out this Friday, the 24th.
Mm-hmm.
And just on the topic of Gunther, I am very much excited to see what Gunther has to say throughout this past season on Drive to Survive.
Mm-hmm.
See what he's got to say about all the wankers.
Oh, wankers.
We look like a bunch of wankers out there. All right.
I know it's your favorite Gunther quote.
It is,
I'm gonna have to get you a T-shirt.
right? They were selling them at Coda.
Yeah, that's not. I'm not buying you a $70 T-shirt. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
no, that was. Trust me, I saw it and was like, "Oh man, I want that shirt." And then I saw the price tag and was like, "Nope, I don't want it that bad."
I wanted that yellow Ferrari shirt, but I refuse. I'm
Mhm.
sorry, bro. Like I can't spend that much money on a damn T-shirt.
Yeah. God, it's a badass shirt though.
No, it was sick. Well, the polo is really
Yeah, Polo's
where it's at.
Yep.
But either way, bro, like when I saw $70 on a T-shirt, I was like, y'all are freaking high.
Yeah.
And then the next day they were sold out. So I was like, okay, maybe y'all know the market.
Yep. All right, let's move this on down to AlphaTauri. I think it's going to be a bad year for AlphaTauri. So for one, the driver pairing, I do not think is going to benefit them at all. Their veteran driver being Yuki and rookie Nick DeVries. I do not think Yuki is ready to be the number one guy. I don't think he is ready to lead a team and to be that guy. And obviously, DeVries is a rookie, so he's not ready for that. He's got enough challenges in front of him this year. Yeah, he's run a race, he's done some driving in the cars, whatnot, but that doesn't really matter. He's not in F1 week in and week out, and he's got the rookie learning curve against him.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the driver pairing is really going to hurt them this year. As well as
I would say it's the worst on the grid.
yeah. And I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I think Yuki has talent.
I agree.
I just don't think he's ready yet. Mentally, maturity wise, I don't think he's ready to be the team leader.
I don't think he's shown the consistency throughout a season to be a team leader.
Yeah, no, he definitely
to carry the team.
Mm-hmm.
Now, can he? I think he can get there. I think a lot of Yuki. I think he's really good. I think he's got a ton of potential. I just think his challenges are much more severe than than your typical European rookie, with the kind of culture shock and language barrier that we've discussed, and it's pretty out in the open, what they've gone through and what he's gone through. When he got to F1, he hardly spoke English.
Yeah.
Just his workout regimen. I mean, essentially had to build everything from the ground up, and it's tough, man. Like you can't progress, you can't focus on just your driving when you're trying to essentially restructure your entire life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just impossible.
Yeah.
But I think once he gets there and he has that structure in his life, he's much more comfortable with English and being able to communicate openly with more than just curse words. I mean, no, I'm being serious.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
With more than just curse words with his team, and have fluid, deep, dynamic conversations about what they want and what they need and what he feels. I think you're going to see a potentially serious threat in terms of him getting into a big team, because we've seen the speed bro, Yuki is quick.
Mm-hmm.
It's just all the other things that need to be put in place.
Yeah, it's just
But if
everything. I mean, his consistency and then just everything else with stability and lifestyle, all the changes that he's making. It's just
and I think
everything needs
all
to
those
be,
things will breed consistency.
yeah. It all needs to be refined is what it
Right.
comes down to.
But it just takes time.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of have a feeling that next year will be the year for Yuki to really shine.
Yeah.
And I hope to God he gets it, because I think this has been a process. And if I'm Red Bull, you've invested this much, dude, see it through.
Yeah.
Unless
Oh,
he absolutely
absolutely.
shits the bed this year.
Mm-hmm.
But man, like from what I've seen so far, I mean, the progress is there
Oh yeah, yeah. And
when
man,
you
I mean,
consider what you had to do.
yeah, from the team's perspective, like you said, with the amount that they've invested in it, but man, on a personal level, like for Yuki's sake, I sure hope nothing crazy happens, because I know, if I had invested that much into making those insane amount of changes to my lifestyle and to everything for this, like, dude, that would just be absolutely heartbreaking to not get to really see it through to the end, you know?
So if they were to cut him loose, I kind of feel like there would be a spot for him somewhere else. I feel like another team would absolutely grab him up. I think he's shown that kind of potential and that kind of
Mhm.
speed. However, I do have this sneaky feeling that with the amount of shit that Red Bull has gone through with him, they see that, like they're aware of what they have
Mhm.
and the potential, and that may be the guy that replaces Checo. And they're kind of like building their guy. And they know it's going to take time, but they're just kind of building their perfect number 2.
Mhm.
Because I think they know with where Max is at right now, you're not going to get another top flight driver to go there.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a guy who wants to be a number 1 to go drive alongside of Max.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. Because even if you're equal, you're not.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I mean, I think,
And that's a very real
I
possibility.
think that's their long game. I think
Mhm.
they're molding and heavily investing in their ultimate number 2. And I think
That
Yuki he's got the speed to do it, and I think they're just fine tuning everything else.
that's very possible. I mean, and that would make sense too, right? Like
That'd be the Red Bull
that's
way.
yeah, that's the exact purpose of these driver programs,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So I could get on board with that. But for this year, I think it's going to be rough
Yeah, I
for
agree.
AlphaTauri. I think as far as Yuki is concerned, I think it's just about continued growth. This whole time, this episode and last one, we've talked a lot about just what trajectory each of these teams was on last year and what we expect this year. I don't think that trajectory is great for AlphaTauri, but I think for Yuki, his personal growth, I think, is on a good trajectory. And I think he just needs to focus on that. And the rest will take care of itself for him. And I think it's the same with DeVries. DeVries is coming in with high expectations. There's a lot of support behind him. And I think he is going to need to demonstrate that it wasn't all just hype. Granted, he's not going to be going into a good car, so it appears. But if he can, as a rookie, keep your nose clean, keep the damage to a minimum, and make it through your rookie year, and I think that right there is a win.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the goals for AlphaTauri this year. Well, that may not be the goals for the team, but I think that's the goals for the drivers themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's one of those things, man. Like, do you know where they are in terms of cost cap spending?
I don't.
I feel like that's one of those teams where they are going to be whatever Red Bull wants them to be or allows them to be. I mean, I can't see them being we say sister team, but that's not the case. It's like a mother-daughter team.
Yeah.
They're not going to be. They're never going to be allowed to be on that level. So it's essentially make it competitive enough to make some money and develop my drivers. So,
so apparently
they've taken a dip. I can't imagine them being at the cost cap.
No, that's what I'm looking at right now. I don't see like an exact number or anything, but they were well below that 145 for 21, but the 140 for 22, they were expected to reach that. And it says due to necessary purchases from the parent team Red Bull.
Which, I mean, inflation could have brought them to that number.
That's possible, yeah. But like I said, it appears, and I'm not finding any concrete, like, here's what they spent. Did they actually make it? This was all pre 22 that this article was written.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't see it, but they were expected to be at that 140.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, let's see what they do with it. I mean, obviously after last year, I think, we were always kind of like wondering how much crossover, how much data input is going back and forth from Red Bull and AlphaTauri. I think that answer is safe to say zero.
Yeah.
I think data is going to Red Bull from Honda via AlphaTauri, and I think that's where it ends. Or maybe even Aero-wise, but I don't know what good Aero-wise would do, being that they're clearly not on the same wavelengths.
No. Driver-wise, feedback-wise, engineers and setup-wise, to be able to even validate whatever aero data they may have. So
maybe they can correlate it some kind of way to the tires, but
maybe
that would be about it that I would see.
Yeah. So all right,
and
last one, on to Williams. Where do you sit with Williams?
I kind of feel like they're still going to be DFL this year. Like they haven't said, done, or shown anything to make me think otherwise.
Correct.
Like to make me think that they're going to make these significant jumps in performance.
Yep. I think we're going to see the same thing as we did last year. I think we're going to have those.
They did hire James Viles, but
yeah,
that's now. Like that's going to pay
Right.
dividends,
Next year.
next year.
Yeah. I think we're going to see the one-off weekends where Albon does pretty good.
He was the bright spot last year. He definitely excelled in that kind of team leader role.
Mm-hmm. And I think we're going to see more of that this year. I think Sargent will do better than what Latifi did, but not expecting anything huge.
Right.
He's going to be back there, battling. I think rookie to rookie, I think he's going to be battling against DeVries. On a purely talent level, I think DeVries will outperform him.
Mm-hmm.
Which, unless some kind of way the Williams car did get a couple notches better, or the AlphaTauri just plummeted to being significantly worse, I think that leaves him down there at the back, at the very back.
Yeah.
So I'm not expecting anything different from Williams.
Yeah, my expectations are not high for Williams. I don't know. Like I said, I mean, they literally haven't shown me anything to make me think otherwise.
Right.
Like in Ferrari, you look at the car and you see everywhere you look, you see changes. You can look at any part of that car and you see changes. Even Alpine, you see changes everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. Just Williams, just kind of like it seems as if they're standing still. I know they made some moves, and I think they will show some signs of progression throughout the back end of the year because I think James Vowles will be a very good hire for them long term. Now, how long term, I don't know because I don't know. Like nowadays, bringing a team from dead last on the grid back to the front, I think is a pipe dream.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of think he's learning the ropes at Williams, much like the drivers do, and then is going to get plucked back by Mercedes in some years' time, whenever Toto's ready to hang it up. And this is his way of getting that, real fire experience under his belt. So will he even be there long enough to see it through? I don't know.
Probably not.
But
with as long as that takes for that to happen, I doubt it.
I would be, if I had to lay it out, just from what I've heard Toto kind of say and suggest in the last year or so, I kind of feel like he might bow out into a even bigger role with Mercedes. At these next regulations. So that leaves James, 3 years?
3. Yep.
To get his work in and then come over and maybe even come over in 25. Maybe even come back in 25.
Kind of under Toto's wing a little bit.
Just to kind of set the directive to be involved in everything for the new regs coming forward.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have a hard time seeing Williams coming back to what it was, man. I just do.
Yeah.
I think the days of customer teams being relevant in the title fight are over
Yeah.
in Formula One. I
Yeah,
think those days are gone.
It really is.
So it's, essentially being a midfield threat is going to be your ceiling, and they got a lot of freaking work to do that.
Yep.
To even think about doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So if James could get them to a point where they're fighting for points every week, and then you pluck him back to Mercedes, look the fuck out.
Yeah. Yep.
I
mean,
Toto can step down and not miss Mercedes ain't gonna miss a beat.
Yeah.
If he can pull that off. So
dude, I
think that's what this is about.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about this in that aspect with that plan in mind, but dude, that makes sense.
Well, dude, look,
and
what we've seen over the years
from a business aspect, I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
I mean, look, what we've seen over the years is any team that runs Mercedes engines, with the exception of McLaren, is essentially puppets to what Mercedes wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
Williams is, Aston Martin is. I mean, they do whatever they're told.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, Toto is probably the second most shareholder in Aston Martin aside from Lawrence.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, to me, I don't understand how that's not a conflict of interest. That seems to be the exact definition of a conflict of interest. But if they want to allow
it's fine. Yeah.
If they want to allow it, I mean, I guess it's okay.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, like, I don't really know. Yeah. I don't really know what else to say there.
What better way to be the puppet master?
Yeah. But shit, I mean, the way that they were able to slingshot George from Williams into the Mercedes when Lewis had COVID.
Yeah.
That to me makes no sense. Like I
don't. You're losing your driver this weekend. He's coming over here,
dude. Like obviously, if you're the driver, you want that, but like from a contractual standpoint, I don't understand how that is even like something that's a discussion to be had.
Yeah, I mean that's like what your reserve driver is for.
Exactly. Like
how can you just go pluck another team's driver out of that car for the weekend?
Bro, that I can't understand that. I freaking can't. That's the most absurd thing that I've ever seen.
I mean, dude, I guess what we were kind of talking about prior to getting on here, props to Toto for clearly being very good at what he does and setting things up to work as he's going to want them to.
So, like I said,
contract-wise and stuff like that.
Toto's an animal.
Yeah.
He's a freaking savage, and he's great at everything he does.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but I do have a huge problem with team principals being allowed to be managers of drivers. That's another massive conflict of interest.
Massive conflict.
Like, you cannot tell me that anybody, whether it be Flavio back in the day or Toto Wolff now, you cannot have this driver's best interest at heart when you are running a team of your own. It can't happen.
Right. Yeah.
Flavio was famous for when these drivers were no longer pertinent to his plan, just absolutely screwing them.
Mm-hmm.
how are team principals still allowed to be managers of drivers and manage? Like, once you get to F3, like, I understand having a program, right? But once you get to F3, you have to have your own representation.
Yeah.
How hard is that? Okay, maybe some of these kids don't have the money for it. Okay. Somebody give the money. Like, y'all used to spend $600 million a year. Now you spend 150. Y'all got a bunch of money laying around.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody front the freaking money.
Yeah.
Put it into a collective to a pile of agents that handle all of F2 and F3 drivers. And every F1 team funds it. There
Problem
you go.
solved. Yeah.
There you go.
No more conflict of interest.
Exactly.
But clearly, somebody doesn't think it's a conflict of interest. Now, whether
Piranhas, bro.
somebody is the Piranha Club or, I don't know. But, yeah, somehow it's allowed. So, all right. I think that wraps up Williams. And that wraps all of them up. I think as a whole, man, I think we're expecting big things out of the 23 season, and I think it's going to be exciting.
I am. I'm going to throw fits and temper tantrums if we don't get it.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, this weekend is testing.
We're there.
We're there. So, all right. Without further ado, I will leave you with my quote with the fact that we are there. And seeing as we are an American podcast, I will make this quote as American as it gets when it comes to motor racing, albeit it has nothing to do with F1. But anyway, gentlemen, start your engines. And you could pick any one of 100,000 people that have said that over the years. But it's time. The season is here. Reveals are done. Testing is in a few days. And I can't wait.
Can't wait either, but that's the most redneck thing you've ever said on here.
Hey, it's fitting, man. We're an American podcast, and it has to do with motor racing. So, like I said, it has nothing to do with F1, but it's fitting. The season's starting.
It's like Fox, where they said, if you think the last words of the national anthem are "Gentlemen, start your engines," you might be a redneck.
I actually used that as a quote one episode last season.
Yeah. And it's super fitting. It's super fitting.
So, all right. That's going to wrap this one up for this week. We will be back next week.
Oh, hold on a minute.
What you got?
Stroll is not driving at. We didn't even bring this up. Stroll's not going to be driving at Tesla.
No, we didn't. I saw that. today. I have not dug in to see.
He got in a cycling accident. I don't know
what it was?
The details of it.
Yeah.
So I haven't heard who's going to be driving in his place. I don't know if Fernando is going to be doing all of it. I doubt it.
He might be. Dude's an animal.
Maybe they call old Seb back up, and maybe we got a little Sebastian Fernando, little Sebando tandem for testing.
I don't see that one happening, but it'd be cool.
I mean, who else do you get? Hulkenberg signed up.
Yeah.
De Vries is signed up. They're the two that kind of just drove for everybody. They were like the paddock whores.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do you do?
I don't know. Maybe Toto will pluck somebody else out of another car.
Maybe Van Dorn gets in there.
Could be.
Let's see. I don't know. I mean,
Well, I mean,
I know he's their
McLaren-
reserve driver, but
Well, McLaren added Van Dorn to their reserve driver pool, so
yeah, but he was already under contract for Aston Martin. They all share people.
yeah.
It's like a big backup driver orgy between all the Mercedes people.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe it ended up being Van Dorn. Who knows? I mean, they've
So,
got Felipe Drugovich too.
Right.
Aston Martin does.
So anyway,
Yeah.
we'll figure it out.
Yep.
Next time
Yep.
we're on here, we'll know who have done it. Because testing starts this week.
Yep. All right.
And
So
next week we'll have a special guest on here.
we will.
Looking
Yes.
forward to it. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, it sure will. So make sure y'all catch that one. And yeah,
Super secret
We're-
for now.
it's here. It's time. In a few days, anyway.
It's time. You get Bruce Buffer.
All right. So until next week. I don't know. But
Stay classy, San Diego.
all right there, Ron. So appreciate y'all hanging out with us.
Go fuck
And,
yourself, San Diego.
San Francisco, wasn't
No,
it?
San Diego.
Was it?
Don't mess
Might
with
have
me,
been.
bro. Get out of here, San Francisco. You ruined it.
I'll have to brush up on my Ron Burgundy, but
Ruined it.
all right, I'll give you that one. All right.
You need to edit that part out for yourself.
Yeah, we'll see. I might just be right. Who knows?
I'm telling you, you're not.
All right. We're ending this thing. Thanks for being with us. We'll see y'all later.
Later.